What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I am your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house. Today, we're going to be talking about 7 horrible habits that are secretly ruining your life. And these are things that you may not realize. They may not be in front of you as like a glaring issue, but day to day, they're just small little things that are compounding, leading to other bad habits. And we always look at a keystone habit as something that you do that just leads to other negative things or positive things depending on what's going on. And the first thing here is just going to be starting with when we wake up. We check social media right away. And I know so many people who will lay in bed and do this. You scroll, you check to see what other people are doing. And it may seem like something innocent, right? Some of these things are going to be innocent. Like you're not trying to do any harm. It's not like you're drinking a ton of alcohol. You're doing anything that you can see may be a problem. It's going to be a small little thing day to day that's just kind of messing you up, right? So you really want to try to avoid going on your phone for the first little bit. And when it comes to even social media, you're going to be, when you do this, you put other people in front of you. You start to check stories. And I know this because I've been guilty. And you start to see what other people are doing. You see what they did the night before. You start to compare. One of the greatest things you can do is start with your morning routine for you, your time. That could be journaling. That could be taking out a book and reading. That could be walking. Try not to touch your phone. You know, if you have your alarm clock, turn it off and then just put it to the side and start your morning the way that you want to start it. And a lot of people don't realize that by checking your phone first thing, checking social media, it could cause anxiety, and it also interrupts your natural wake up rhythm. And it is a big common mistake I see so many people making.
And number 2 is using TV and videos as a background noise constantly, always needing something. When you're eating, maybe you're looking at Instagram or you're looking at X or whatever it is. And I love recently, I heard a book and he mentioned when you're working, really work. So lately even, I like motivational videos and I'll listen to them sometimes while I'll do things, but I do find it's harder for me to focus with intention. So I've been challenging myself, just one monitor, no second monitor, just silence, just deep, intense work. And I remember this example when I would study and I would be doing other things, I would have distractions. It wouldn't go very far. But if I just studied no noise, no distractions, super intense, Pomodoro technique, I'm just got that time on that 20 minutes and I take that short break, I would get so much further and I could study in like 2 hours the amount I used to study in 8 hours. So this is a big one. Like when you're doing something, try to do it with intention. Like when you're with your kids, be with your kids, be off your phone. When you're in the gym, be in the gym. Think about the gym, the movements you're doing, the weights you're adding, the intention. Don't be scrolling, looking for random things. Like challenge yourself to avoid just this constant dopamine and try to rewire your brain to get a little bit of a reset there, if you will. And I find this is actually a lot more relaxing, even if you can keep your phone in a different room. Like try to be intentional when you're doing something. It's funny, I actually saw Netflix was going to do something, they said, because people weren't paying attention and it was hard for them to watch. So they were going to have some other functionality. I forget exactly what it was, but I thought that was so crazy because they were saying like people don't actually pay enough attention, so that they didn't want a show to be too complex or something like that, which was sad. So like even for me, like when I'm doing something, like if I'm watching a movie, I'm like, I'm watching a movie. Like I don't need to be doing anything else. I'm going to be intentional. And all too often people watch a movie, scroll Instagram, eat a snack. Like it's just way too much, and it's going to cause you constantly looking for like, what's my next hit? What's my next hit? And especially social media, when you're scrolling through it, it's like a lottery, right? You're waiting for something that you want. So try and put time frames on it. Maybe only do it for a certain time once a week. These are all things I've had success with, but this is a big one.
Yeah, I've made this common mistake many times. I had to catch myself even just always needing maybe a song on the background or something like, just if it's quiet in the house, I'm like, oh, let me just put on a sports channel in the background. I'm like, you need to have that quiet time, especially like for me, it's like my creative time is just like when it's quiet, to be able to think in silence. Like if you get in the car, like I love audiobooks, but there's also something peaceful about just being able to sit there for a few minutes, thinking, coming up with ideas, being present. And yeah, just don't always chase that next bit of dopamine. Once again, I've made this mistake. And when I saw it, I'm like, this is 100% a mistake I make. I need to change this. But next up is just saying yes to things, to people, please. I know we can go about life just trying to make every single person around us happy. And this could be, let's say, plan wise, you may not want to do something. And sometimes it is good to do something if you're like, I'm just feeling lazy. And then when you get out, you feel a lot better. But for the most part, like, don't just say yes to everything because you want to make people happy. And I could use this for like nutrition, for anything like relating to the fitness journey. Like, I know so many people who just constantly give in to make that other person happy, and their journey's so much harder because they give in to every temptation, every snack, every little thing. And honestly, what ends up happening is just ends up sapping your mental energy. And I think it's so normal, and we should be normalizing the ability to say no to things that we don't want to do. And once again, it's about weighing what you want to do. That's what really ultimately matters. But I think this is a very big common mistake that people are making, and they end up making bad decisions because of it.
Yeah, my next one's a big one here, so make sure to listen up. And that's living in the someday mode rather than taking action. So it's real easy to procrastinate and say, I'll get in shape eventually. I'll take control of my finances eventually. I'll spend more time with my friends. Like, if something is serious to you, you need to prove that to yourself by taking that first step. And it doesn't need to be massive. All too often people have this perfect ideal of like, if you want to get back into fitness, that you're going to be in the gym 2 hours a day, never eating junk again. And it sounds fun in your head, but when you go to execute, it's not realistic, and it makes you ultimately feel worse. So instead of that, just say like, what's a baby step I can take today? And it's so freeing. And while we're on the school example, I remember how overwhelmed I would get writing essays. Maybe you can relate to this, or starting a project or doing something that scares you. And when I would just start poking at it, I'd start making notes, I'd start finding a frame. It just became so easy. And as you see things take shape, it's very freeing. In fitness, health, anything's like that. Like, even if you're saving your first $10 and you want to get out of debt, that's a great start. You put whatever it may be towards the debt. If you want fitness, you start by going on a walk, you eat one healthier meal, and then you scale and grow on that. So it doesn't need to be all or nothing. By changing out this mindset, it goes a long way. And if you're serious about taking action, let me do all the hard work for you. Let me optimize your nutrition, your training, your accountability, and your goal planning and setting so you can see better results faster. I help people just like you go from good to great in their journey and see all the results you've been looking for, not just for now, but for the long term. So if you want to learn more about how you can work with me one-on-one online, no restriction, any background history of level of expertise, any gym, I'm going to curate a program specifically for you so that you can get these better results faster. If you want to learn more about how this works, no pressure, no obligation at all, click the first link in this show notes to learn more about my coaching at my website. And if you're serious and you want to take action, fill out that form and I will do all the hard work. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side when you're my next success story.
Yeah, next up, that brings me into simply just hanging out with people that only leave you feeling comfortable. So this is one that, once again, you may not realize, but I know a lot of times people only spend time with those that will talk about football. You know, they're just like kind of the basic stuff, right? When in reality, like, even myself, the more that I get around people who will either call me out, push me, challenge me, get my brain thinking like crazy, I know that that's going to be a better relationship. It may not be fun at first because sometimes it is good to just chill out and whatnot, but I think that it's so easy to just like stray away from that because we don't want to be challenged, or we don't want to just have to maybe think as much. And yeah, I just see so many people kind of getting comfortable within the relationships. And, you know, there was a quote, it was something about, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. And I thought that was so well said, because even something that Josh and myself, like, we try to do, and we went to a recent real estate investor conference and we were like, man, we're babies in this room, and that's how you know it's a good room. And I just, once again, try not to just spend time with those that leave you feeling comfortable. And it's kind of a good segue into like what Josh was just saying there, because what we do within our coaching is we try to be that person who's actually willing to call you out in a loving way to get you results, right? Because most of the times you're going about your life, let's even say you want to reach fitness goals, and nobody around you will say, hey, you're not putting in that work. Hey, you got to put that thing down. Hey, you skipped the gym. Whereas when you invest in yourself and you have that person who's like hanging out with you, essentially what we'll do one-on-one online, and say, hey, you know, you have these goals, we're going to hold you to it, and we'll do everything it takes to get you there. So find those people that are going to help you, that are going to support you, and just don't hang out with those friends that are only talk about the weather and, you know, football Sunday or whatever it is. Like, have those people that will push you, and it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, if you have someone who makes you feel uncomfortable because you're like, this person's always executing executing. They're always in the gym, they're growing, they're leveling up in their job. Like, it's motivating because it makes you be like, I want to do that too. So really find some people where you can be that small fish in a big pond, get some extra motivation from that. Next up is just mindlessly scrolling, especially in bed. So anywhere you go, if you take your phone out, you're really missing an opportunity. It's funny, they say people take their phone out of their pocket, like in an elevator, in under a second, just because that little bit of discomfort of just being alone doing nothing. And the more you can be comfortable just sitting in peace, looking around, the more you'll actually be observant. Try and look more towards what's happening around you. Have a conversation with a stranger. Like, don't just always going back to that dopamine, always be needing to do something, always be needing to be scrolling when there's just a second of silence. So challenge yourself with that, and especially in bed, because it's going to affect your sleep with blue light. You're going to be constantly dopamine hunting. It's going to end up hurting you. It's not going to do you any good, and it's going to cause you to stay up. And in general, I recommend trying to keep your phone out of your room if you're able to. Get like an alarm clock or something like that, and that will actually help a lot of people improve, or put it far away where you have to get up when that alarm does go off. And this is a great opportunity to see some progress. If you have a hard time in that transition before bed, I do highly recommend reading, and I've had a lot of success with that.
Yeah, and last but not least, it's actually going to be about your education to entertainment ratio. So this is something that I know a lot of people struggle with, is like when you look at your overall day to day, it's very easy for entertainment to far outweigh your education. So let's just say you happen to watch Netflix for a few hours and then you read a book for 5 minutes, or most people don't even read for a few minutes. Like, your ratio is just completely out of whack. So I want to say there's nothing wrong with enjoying a great movie, with, listening to music, with doing something. Whether I love YouTube videos, that's probably one of my personal guilts, and I enjoy watching them. But when I do it, it's going to be a nice little reward. And we always want to improve. We always, one of the favorite quotes is evolve or die. And one of the greatest ways to evolve is just to consistently learn, to become better, to read books. And there's so many different examples, obviously reading books, listening to podcasts like this, audio books, courses, any of that stuff. And if you are a person whose education far outweighs your entertainment, it's going to just make you a better person overall. So yeah, like I said, the ratio for a lot of people is completely out of whack. It's like 4 hours a day entertainment, then 2 minutes a day learning. So that's all we have for today. Make sure to check out the first link down below. No strings attached. Learn more about what we do, how we can support you, invest in yourself. And I really want you to think about some of these habits and how they're ruining your life secretly as well. For me personally, I call myself out. The phone stuff I relate to the most, because I'm definitely bad with that. Other things like taking action and just taking that next level, no problem at all. I like being uncomfortable. I like doing all that stuff. But hey, sit down, find that one thing that you can improve this week. Spend time. If there's another thing, do that next week and build some great habits. I promise you'll be a completely different person. Thank you for listening today, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.